specifically said on their conference calls this earnings season, they can't believe the cost of compute and tokens. They are now, that is now becoming a material factor in the profitability of the enterprise users of AI and all of these products. Does a company like Cerebras or many companies like that, is what we're seeing the race to solve that problem so that the price of compute doesn't outrun our willingness to do more and more things with AI?
Right. Remember, in the early phases, 23 and 24, we were solving for pre-training of LLMs. That required a lot of flops, right? We weren't consuming a lot of inference. Now the models themselves to learn, they need to have an inference loop. Agents require inference, and ChatGPT exploded. So the world moved from flops to being able to solve what they call the memory wall, moving KB cache and moving these model weights around on a chip. And the way that Cerebras, remember, we invested in Cerebras 8 to 9 years ago. And the idea was a long shot, that they could do something nobody had ever done and put memory right on this wafer scale chip right next to the compute. They pulled it off, and the world moved to them. Now it really matters. They have an unlimited amount of demand for their product. So the challenge for NVIDIA today, the challenge for Cerebras is, can we find the power? Mm-hmm. Can we find the data centers to stand up all of this in order to support it? The one thing you heard on all those calls, Josh, whether it was Amazon or Google, we are compute constrained. Our revenues would be higher if we weren't compute constrained.
Lennox International, which is HVAC, Anglo Gold Ashanti, Barrick, Watsco is in here, Southern Copper, JB Hunt. These are great businesses. Some of them are 100 years old. There's nothing you could type into an LLM that's going to change what they do. At least not in a negative way. They're probably all beneficiaries of AI, quite frankly. So this is just a way to express a view. We think there's going to be massive disruption. We want to be invested. Let's not be invested in the most disruptible companies. Let's look for the companies that are AI resistant.
Hey Dave, some have looked at, now maybe not this one specifically, but you guys are the DRAM folks as well with that new ETF. And some have said, well, now here we go. Now the launch of these types of products, trying to capture the whole AI thing now, is one of those signs that people look for when they're saying, oh, this looks like a top to me. How would you address that?
I think we've seen that before. People were saying that about our Magnificent 7 ETF, MAGS, when we launched that. They were calling it when we launched our meme ETF, which is up 65% year to date. And most recently, DRAM, which is one of actually the most successful ETF in history, is up 96% since we launched it on April 2nd. Now, that doesn't predict where the future goes, but I think it's a little bit easy just to say that because you're launching an ETF, it means that it trades over. In fact, I think it's actually unlocking the potential for investors to access stocks that they haven't had before.
Well, I mean, the DRAM performance since the launch has obviously proven, at least the early calls, not to be correct. Dave, I appreciate your time very much. Thank you.
Sometimes these things are hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Jensen told us, like, we knew inference time reasoning was going to change the game. We knew the world was moving to inference. He told you it was going to 1 billion x. And the reality is not many people listen. He went on to buy Grok for $20 billion. Cerebras is going to go public today. These are inference factories, purpose-built chips in order to deliver low latency inference to all the people in the world. And for the folks at home, right, here's the one thing to remember. There is no intelligence. There's no consumer ChatGPT. There's no enterprise intelligence. There's no Claude Code without the production of tokens, right? It's the production and consumption of tokens that is intelligence. And what Cerebras does such a good job at, Grok as well with NVIDIA, is producing very low latency inference tokens. There is room for more than one winner, to your point, Scott. This idea that NVIDIA was going to lose share, you're right, is the thing that capped NVIDIA at $180. But I think the world woke up to the fact that notwithstanding Cerebras' success, notwithstanding Broadcom's success, notwithstanding the success of Trainium and TPU, NVIDIA was still going to sell everything.
There were 5 companies in the S&P 500 that...
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all doing well today. So without wasting time, let's start our video. Why the market still doesn't fully understand NVIDIA. One of the most interesting thing happening right now is that NVIDIA continue delivering extraordinary results. And yet many investors remain skeptical. The skepticism is understandable because the stock has already appreciated significantly. The company is the one of the largest in the world, and many investors naturally assume that growth must slow down. But when I look at the fundamentals, I see something very different. I see a company operating at the center of the most important technology transition of our lifetime. The key question is simple. What happens if AI adoption accelerates faster than expected? Most valuation models assume some level of moderation, some level of normalization, and some level of slowing down. But what if demand remains exponentially strong for much longer? That's the scenario many industry participants appear to be preparing for. The hyperscalers are not slowing spending, the leading AI labs, the sovereign AI projects are not slowing spending. The enterprises customers are the only beginning in their adoption journey, and that's the important part. Enterprises AI adoption is still in the early inning. Many large organizations are still experimenting, testing the workflow and evaluating the returns, deploying the pilot programs. The majority of the enterprises has not fully integrated AI into their operations. When that eventually happens, the inference demand could increase dramatically. Every employee become a compute consumer, every workflow become a compute consumer, and every software product and every AI agents become a compute consumer. The scale of that demand is difficult to fully appreciate because we are not talking about millions of users, we are talking about billions. And this is why Jensen Wong repeatedly discussed the concept of AI factories. The traditional factories produce physical products, AI factories produce intelligence. Token become the output, and just like industrial production expanded throughout the 20th century, the intelligence production may be expanded throughout the 21st century. This is an incredibly powerful framework. The more useful AI become, the more intelligence society consume. The more intelligence society consume, the more compute is required. And the more compute required means the greater the demand for AI infrastructure. And everything ultimately lead back to Nvidia. Ultimately lead back to compute. This is why so many discussions around the Nvidia eventually converge on the same conclusion. Supply remain constant and demand remain strong.